Wellness. I am Jamie Doral, your host of the Wine and Wellness Week number 99 with the co-host, the one and only Joe Messino. Welcome back, Joe.
Here we go.
So we are excited. This is a big event for us and the team. We are live at the World of Wellness. All you need to do is come on down at 2419 Baldwick Road, right in the heart of Pittsburgh, PA. Do you need to be a customer or a patient?
Neither. All you need to be is mobile. Get in here. Come on down. Be friendly. Say hi. Break a little bread with us from 11 to 2 today. Try all the samples, and the bar is open.
Yeah, we're really excited about the bar because we have some incredible smoothies to try. These are whole food-based smoothies, so you can drink all your nutrients in your meal. What was your favorite yesterday? We were pumping them out yesterday.
It's hard to pick a favorite anymore. So, I've always been partial to Purple Haze and Messino Protocino, but that chocolate peanut butter cup blew everybody away yesterday. It was the big hit.
Chocolate peanut butter, that's my favorite too, and people were shocked when they tried it.
Reese's
What's in it? That's the question.
The phone was ringing. Reese's was calling all day. Said, stop that.
A gentleman came running over and he said, well, how much sugar's in this shake? And what's the answer?
They still ask. 0.0. No sugar.
You don't need no sugar.
We don't need any sugar.
You're sweet enough, Joe.
Every day. It's going to be better today.
Speaking of sugar, we're going to talk about a really hot topic right now, diabesity today. Serious topic, folks. So get your notebooks out, your pencils out, and get those ears open.
It's one of those silent killers, isn't it, Jamie? I mean, it's like everybody knows if you have heart disease, but sometimes that diabetes just creeps up on people.
Yeah, we're going to talk about why, right? Yeah. We had an incredible VIP dinner for healthcare professionals a couple weeks ago down in Orlando, Florida. So we are praying for all of our friends down there because we know there's a little hurricane going through. So prayers to our team, our family, our friends, and even our foes down there that they survive and everybody's safe over the next few days. So thoughts and prayers for everyone in Florida this week. However, we were in Florida a couple weeks ago with Dr. Silver. Yes. He's a DO, functional medicine, and a great client of ours down in the Boca area. And, he wanted to talk about diabesity because he says he sees it regardless of someone's age, how much they weigh, family history. He says, I want to show people why. So we're going to do that. Before we get into that, I just want to remind everyone, the World of Wellness is open. All you need to do is come on down this week. We are here today. Today's a half day till 5 p.m. So we have free, healthy, organic food from 11 to 2. We have workshops going on throughout the day. So what are some of the workshops you're looking forward to, Joe?
Well, we got some great demos coming up today with Dr. Ross. I mean, when he comes in, it's a ball of energy, and he's got all these modalities he wants to talk about, and that's always fun. But my buddy, Seth Quinto from Argentin 23 will be back. And I can't wait to hear his updates on all the silver and copper products from Argentin 23.
So we got a couple great speakers, and I want to tell a little testimonial. Is that okay, about Dr. Phil Ross? So we had one of our great clients who's been coming in for years, her and her husband, and they came in recently. Good morning, Matt. They came in recently, and I can tell she wasn't doing good, right? I wasn't sure what was going on. I said, well, let me see if I can get you in for 5 minutes with Dr. Ross. He brought her in. He found her blood pressure was over 200.
Ooh.
So a very dangerous situation for heart attack or stroke. He recommended we get her to the emergency room right away, and he saved her from having a stroke.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
Just by taking a few minutes with her, identifying what the situation is. There are times, folks, we're not against medicine.
Yeah.
There are times and places. They got her stable.
Good.
And now she's coming here. And not only her, but her very skeptical husband have been meeting with Dr. Phil Ross and she goes, I've never felt so good. And, we're no spring chickens anymore, Joe. So she was really excited that he was able to help her, give her exactly what she needed, and now get her on the chiropractic program. We took care of an acute situation, and then we brought her in for the wellness care.
Jacket?
It's something I put together this morning. I wasn't even looking. There he is, Dr. Ross. We're just bragging about you.
Good, right?
Yes, we're telling about how you helped the patient with excessively high blood pressure in acute situation. So thanks so much. You're a blessing to her and her family. And now I've been fortunate enough, even though I may get bumped, I got a standing appointment every Monday with Dr. Ross. And I was doing my workout this morning. I did an extra 10 minutes of walking, so hour and 10 minutes of walking.
Woo.
Did some weights, and then some Stairmaster.
Wow.
So I have to thank Dr. Ross for all the great care he's given me. And someone was asking me recently.
You might need to get on the boots.
Yeah,
those legs.
I think so, right? Yeah, it's definitely needed. And someone was saying, well, if you go to a chiropractor, you have to keep going. I said, only if you want to feel good. Just like eating and drinking water.
How long do I have to take these supplements? Well, as long as you plan on eating.
So today we got Dr. Ross at 10. We got Seth at 11. And then a 12 o'clock roundtable.
Ooh, I don't know where this one came from. Mike Gallagher and me on a roundtable. You going to join us?
I'm going to try.
Okay.
I may not need a mic because, between you and Mike, it's going to be very challenging to get a word in. But in a serious topic, the number one killer in the U.S. is still what?
It's still heart disease. No matter how you shake it, it's still heart disease.
So we're going to go over some of the risk factors involved, and we're going to talk today, too, about, the big four, the underlying causes of anything you're dealing with: stress, toxicity, nutritional deficiencies, and genetics. As we know, Dr. Jeff Bland, the father of functional medicine, has famously stated that genetic determinism is a fallacy. And why is that, Joe?
Because it's more about what he termed your epigenetics, which is the effect of your lifestyle and environment on your genes.
Yeah, in fact, some of our top clients, Caroline calls her business what?
Terraining.
Yes.
Yeah, take care of the terrain. That's this right here.
Yeah, what is, Robert Scott Bell said about terrain?
Yeah, I mean, it's never the germ theory. It's always the terrain theory. It's how well you handle anything that comes your way.
This applies to everything, including what we're going to talk about now, diabetes.
Sure.
And at 1 o'clock today, we have our own Jeff Nizik. He's going to be doing a demo on applied kinesiology.
Yes, he is. Yep.
And he's been so generous.
He's been coming in yesterday morning when you were tied up. He came in and stepped right up.
Great. He's been really generous with his time this week. He's more passionate than ever before, and he's helping a lot of people. So if you have allergies, you have unsolved chronic issues, you need to schedule with Jeff and give him an opportunity to help you. And he's part of the team here with Dr. Orbach, of course, Dr. Ross, and Jeff and Andrea, the massage therapist. So when we look at this, look at this perfect storm, Joe, right? So you combine the lifestyle, right? So what are some of the challenges? Why is this a perfect storm?
Well, because people are faced with the challenge of eating properly today is harder than ever for a lot of people out there.
And we're going to show you why.
Yes.
So poor food choices, right? And we always say it's junk or food.
Right.
Not junk food. How do you know? The food will go and spoil on the counter within a few days.
That's right.
The donuts and other things, maybe not. So one is food. What else?
Well, the other is always going to be stress. Always.
Absolutely.
Right.
So people got a lot of stress. Stress affects eating habits. It affects mindset. It affects blood sugar, hormones, insulin, all these different hormones.
Yeah, and people don't always equate it with hormones, right? Because stress, cortisol, that's a hormone.
And
right?
when it's elevated at the wrong times,
yes,
this is where you become a fat storage machine.
Correct.
And then you look at lack of activity.
There's a big one.
We grew up in the cities. How many cars were in your house? One?
One.
Yeah, us too. So when Dad was at work?
Couple of bicycles.
Oh, many bicycles,
yeah.
When my bike had a flat tire, I actually fixed it and then get a new bike, right? And then, you look at, you would walk everywhere. So our whole culture
Jamie, I remember
changed.
we walked to school in the morning, walked home for lunch, walked back to school, then walked home again at the end of the day.
Yeah,
if we didn't have practice.
Yeah. And that was both ways uphill in the snow.
In the snow, of course.
So there's been a lot of confusion about type 1, type 2, type 3 diabetes. But let's go back in history. And I'm glad, thanks to modern technology for new testing mechanisms, because the original healthcare professionals test for diabetes, you know what it was?
No, what was it?
They would drink the urine of the patient. And actually, it's defined, translated from Latin, diabetes actually means sweet flowing urine, right? So thank God for modern technology.
Learn something new every day.
But yeah,
That's a
so
good one.
you know, on a serious thing, if your urine, you know, is very pungent, right? Then that's a issue of concern. If you're urinating a lot, that's an issue, right?
Yes.
If you're chronically thirsty, these are some simple symptoms you may be experiencing. But very simply put, type 1 diabetes is your body does not produce insulin anymore, and type 2 diabetes is you produce it but you don't use it well. And type 3 diabetes is inflammation of the brain. All equally challenging.
Yes.
And all equally of concern because we're all at risk, Joe.
Yeah,
this is not getting any better.
But we can have a bigger impact on type 2 than any of the others. Type 1 is something that's really physiologic, hard to deal with. It requires insulin. Type 3, that's usually way down the road, right? And a lot has set in. But type 2, we can catch that early.
Yeah, and I don't want to really limit anybody, right? Because type 1, you can show tremendous improvement, right? Because type 2, same thing, and type 3. But look at it from the time we were kids, back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. It really has taken off. There's 100+ million Americans have insulin resistance.
Right.
So what does that mean, Joe?
Insulin resistance is very simple. It's the beginning of type 2 diabetes because when your body ingests food, it turns it into glucose. Then it makes insulin as the carrier to drive that glucose into the cell to be used as energy. If that can't happen by any physiologic means, you just keep making insulin.
Yeah, think about a doorbell, right? In the old days, you didn't need an appointment. You would just go to someone's house and ring the bell. So if the bell's working fine, you hit one ring and they come to the door, that's how your cells should allow sugar in.
Right.
Okay? If you go there in, like, my friend's house, you had to hit the bell a few times because it was sticking. That's like type 2. It still works, but it's not working well. And then type 1 would be the bell doesn't work at all.
Doesn't work, right.
So there can be varying degrees of this, but just realize your body is not utilizing sugar well, and that can be for many reasons, right? But let's take a look back when we were kids in the 70s, right? Charlie's Angels, your favorite show, of course. And then mine was Brady Bunch. But if you look at those shows, people were in shape.
Yeah, they were.
They were always active, right? And then you fast forwarded, and we went from a very interesting shift in our country. They introduced high fructose corn syrup. Right?
Yes, at the very beginning, it was the introduction of that with the vilification of fat.
Right. So from 75 to 85, we went from utilizing real food to high fructose corn syrup, which we'll show you in a minute. Your body doesn't have to break it down. It goes right into the bloodstream, right? It's like glucose on steroids. Not a good thing. And then you started to see, like in the 80s, with the no fat or low fat and high fructose corn syrup, people were getting bigger. And you look at a show like Roseanne, you see the people are getting bigger. And then, of course, we have The Simpsons. So now it's a sedentary lifestyle, right? People are overweight, and it's become acceptable in our country. And that's really was where the shift occurred. Now here we are 30 years later, and has it gotten any better?
No, it hasn't. I mean, the acceptability of the weight gain, it was for the wrong reasons. You don't, it's the weight gain was due to health. That's the whole reason that we look at weight is because it's about your health.
Well, I remember early on, and Dr. Tracy Schropp always talks about this. She goes, remember when fat-free was cool? She goes, and we grabbed the Snackwell cookies.
Yeah.
As if that was good.
Yeah, that was good, right?
And a friend of mine at the time, we go to the movies, and she would always say, Twizzlers don't have any fat.
Yeah.
I'm like, great, get the big one, right? But lo and behold, we found is that the average American eats about 100 pounds of sugar per year. I know.
That's even
low. Look at Taylor's look over there. She's disgusted by it, right? And even worse, Joe, is about a third is from sugary drinks. So, folks, if you do one thing today, cut out the Coca-Cola, cut out the juices,
the Mountain Dews,
and the sweet teas. Just cut out your sugary drinks today, and if you do that, that power of that one more decision would dramatically reduce your risk of diabetes of any kind.
Exactly. And
so
don't
this isn't
forget
genetics.
Fruit juices.
Yeah.
Right?
Juice,
orange juice,
soda,
loaded.
Milk, right? Iced teas, they're all loaded with sugar. So you just cut out your sugary drinks. So what are some things they could drink?
Well, right off the top of my head, I would say the Pro Colors. Mix that with some pure water. They have those great soda machines where you can add a little carbonation, add that into a great tasting water with the pro colors like pro reds, pro purples, and you've got an amazing drink.
Yeah, and here's something most people aren't even aware of. How about drink water? Right? 70% of the planet is made of water.
Right.
And 70% of our body is made of water. Is that a coincidence?
Not a coincidence. And if you're going to drink it, why not fortify it, right?
Exactly. So you can drink any of our beverages, all the pro colors. When we talk about the super shake, some of those things. And hey, we even have organo coffee now at World of Wellness.
That's right.
They also have hot chocolate and hot teas.
Right.
So there's many ways you can get around this if you're suffering from things like flavor fatigue, right? And you want an organic coffee like we have here today. That's okay. And then what about the creamers? I like how you use something like the Nido or Cafe Mocha.
Yeah,
how do you do that?
You can use the protein powders that we have, like Cafe Mocha, or any of the chocolate, vanilla, the collagen ketos. Use them as your creamer by dissolving them in the hot liquid. It'll give you a nice creamy flavor, and it'll give you a little extra protein on top of it.
Yeah, and you need to do these things and then incorporate those in the foundations, right? Which are drink right, move right, sleep right, eat right, poop right, and think right. So if you're doing the foundations of health every day in a healthy way, you're going to reduce your risk of everything. Because right now they're showing that, wow, 1 out of 2 Americans are pre-diabetic or diabetic.
That's 50% of the population.
Well,
that's incredible.
If you don't believe me, do your own study. Walk in Walmart today, and you'll see that people are really out of shape, right? So not everybody, but a lot of people. And it's not just weight anymore. Dr. Silva was showing case studies of 150-pound men that are diabetic.
Right, skinny fat.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you look at what are some of the risk factors, well, it's interesting because a lot of people will go to their doctor and do the glucose test, right? And I always equate it to school. It should be about 100. You don't have to be 70 with glucose, 90, 95, 100. But you also want to look at, are we trending upwards or downwards, right? If your glucose last year was 150, well, then that's good, down to 100. If it was 90, maybe it's going up. But just like in the tests at school, not me and Joe, of course, but some people would actually cheat on these tests. Can you believe that?
Unbelievable, right?
You can cheat on the glucose test by not eating any glucose for a couple of days. But the A1C test, Joe.
Can't cheat on that one.
It's the final exam. It's not an open book. You can't cheat because the glucose is a snapshot of what you look like right now, right? And you can look, like you wake up, and then you can look good in a couple hours. But the A1C is a video of the last 90 days.
Right.
So that looks at the good, the bad, and the ugly. You can't cheat on that one. I like that below 7 is a good range. Yeah. And again, is it trending upwards or downwards? It doesn't have to be 3 or 4, but you don't want it to be double digits either.
No, we see a lot of people that come in with 10, 11, and 12 on the A1C.
Yeah. A very simple way, and my favorite for any type of chronic condition, is get your belt out, right, and put it on. If it's nice and loose, good. Maybe you can have a dessert this weekend. If it's tight, no dessert for you.
Look at those notches.
Dessert for you, Joe.
Which direction are those notches going on the belt, right?
And hey, the best thing to do is clothes, right? You can go clothes shopping, and that will wake up your eyes.
Yes, it will.
Or you can take your clothes off, and that may wake you up too, right? So
the
these
mirror. You can't lie to the mirror.
Well, some of these mirrors you can. I saw the new mirrors. Yeah, it's like at the amusement park. But seriously, tape measure, clothes, right? They're starting to get a little snug. All right, time to tighten up a little more. Get your blood test done every year from your doctor, and do some of your own testing at home, because we know this is getting worse. Some of the symptoms of type 1 or type 2 is significant weight loss. People think that's a good thing, but if you lose weight very rapidly, there's something going on, usually called DK, diabetic ketone acidosis, where your body can't get the sugar inside the cell, so it's burning up fat rapidly, right? I always say if you are very thirsty or urinating a lot or very hungry all the time, something's going on. And, people don't have long-term complications of quote-unquote diabetes, but kidney disease, right? Eye health, cardiovascular, and then you look at all the neuropathies, including things like foot issues and fingers, because the body gets circulation issues at the extremes, right?
Yes.
At the extremities is where you run into these problems. Type 2, that's a little longer, slower, gradual issue you're going to be dealing with. But again, same types of things, but the solutions are simple: what you eat, what you drink, how you move, right?
That's right.
And then you may need to add in some supplementation, those types of things.
And that's all lifestyle, everything you mentioned.
So let's look at some of the ways. Remember the old diagram where it was the perfect man, right? Drawn by Leonardo da Vinci.
Of
and
course.
This is what the new man is looking like in our society. And fructose is one of the biggest things. So this thing destroys your teeth, your gut, your liver, diabetes. Your body becomes a fat storing machine.
I love this slide. This is a great slide. I'm taking this one.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
It's a good one. Yeah.
So
we need a poster of this one.
What are your thoughts when you see that?
When I see this, I think back to what you said a few minutes ago. This is what you see when you walk into Walmart, right? And they're amplifying it, right? And then what happened over the last couple of years amplified it. You didn't even have to go to the drive-thru anymore, Jamie. You could get those things delivered to your doorstep.
And these are all ways the fructose manifests, right? I got a text last night. It said, "Sorry to text you so late. My friend has gout. What do you do?" So my response at 3:30 this morning was, "Sorry to text you so early, but here's what you do." Number one is the gout food program right on our website, nutritionalfrontiers.com. Second thing is change the diet. Follow the gout program. Add in things like Cybezyme and X-Flame and our cherry tart, right? Very simple things, but it all goes back to the fructose consumption in the diet. Even type 3 diabetes, which is inflammation of the brain. That one's really scary, right?
That's very scary. It's going to lead to Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia. But as you mentioned, Jamie, with this with gout, it's not always fat. Sometimes it's trans fat, but usually combined with excess sugar.
Yeah, especially the fructose variety. So we always want to run for the cause, not the cure. And the biggest cause is overconsumption of fructose in the diet. So, remember the old food pyramid from the 70s?
No, I try not to, but there it is.
Yeah. So, it was 11 servings of bread and carbohydrates, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then you add in the dairy products and fruits and veggies. And then you get to the top was use sparingly good fats, right? So, now they're looking at the keto diet, right? So, it's more meat and veggies. Look, I believe eat real food first, right? You need protein to rebuild tissue, including all your tissue, muscle, organs, brain, heart, liver, eyes, everything. So protein is the building block. And then you look at carbohydrates and fat for energy. So you got to pick one or the other, and then one's a little lower, one's a little bit higher. But that's really the foundation of a good diet. They can call it keto. They can call it the zone, the South Beach diet. I mean, it's had so many names over the years. The bottom line is the facts about these programs are very consistent,
right?
And the details may change. So we built the Great Pyramid of Health. So how does this differ?
This differs in that it gives you a blueprint for how to live your life instead of just how to eat.
Yeah.
Right?
Think about an architect, right? I always want to be an architect. You need a blueprint where you're going to build a building. People don't have a blueprint to build their body. And does your body ever stop rebuilding itself?
No, as I learned from Jeff the other day, everything it's either 30, 60, 90 days, and at the longest, 2 years, and that's your bones.
So you can rebuild your entire body in less than 2 years.
Less than 2 years.
So the way you do it is the foundations, right? The food, the water, the movement, the sleep, the elimination, and emotional wellness. Then you build a great pyramid of health through food and food-based nutrition, right?
Right.
Because you can't out-supplement or even out-medicate a bad lifestyle, right?
No.
So you need to do it with food and food-based nutrition. So when you do one scoop of the Power Cleanse and one scoop of the greens, which club are you now accepted into?
Shake a Day Club.
We're accepting new members?
Every single day.
And if you do these two formulations, what do you get every day?
You get the 90 essential nutrients in one meal. How about that?
In one meal.
In one meal.
Wow, it sounds very expensive, Joe. How much does something like this cost?
Less than $3 a day.
Wow.
Ah, amazing, right?
You know, I like to go out to eat, especially with the family and then for traveling for work. What can you get for less than $5 on the road? One scoop of Power Cleanse and one scoop of greens, right?
Yeah, I can't think of anything you can get at this
I asked that question yesterday for the studio audience, and people said breakfast is $15 to $25.
Yes.
For one person.
Yes.
Even you go to Bob's Diner. So, folks, there are nutrients in this shake that you won't find in the grocery store, such as what?
Well, first of all, you're going to get all your macronutrients, right? Protein, carbs, fat, fiber, all in there.
So it's a food. It's like
a
breakfast.
whole food, right. Secondly, you're going to get all your micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, all in there. So you're getting all of the macro, all of the micronutrients with some additional support for the liver, detoxification, and antioxidants.
Yeah, they have the NASA original, the superfoods, chlorella, spirulina, the glutathione for the liver, vitamin C, so many great nutrients, prebiotics, probiotics, enzymes. Everything's in there, folks. So you have to do at least one shake a day. When's the best time to do it?
Anytime, just do it. But the best would be first thing in the morning to set your body in the right course.
Right. It sets up the hormonal sequence of events that occurs after a meal. So your body becomes a fat-burning machine instead of
a fat storing machine.
And how's your mood?
Your mood's going to be great because you're feeding your brain. The neurotransmitter production will be there. And don't forget, let's say, for example, you have a breakfast meeting where you're at a restaurant. That doesn't mean you can't have this shake later in the day.
Right. You can do it for breakfast, lunch, dinner, any time for a snack. And look, if you're suffering, a lot of my family, friends, neighbors, people I know are suffering from emotional dysfunction, right? So maybe you're really anxious, right? Maybe you're depressed. Maybe you're angry. Maybe you're forgetful, right? The reason is your brain really functions on a steady stream of glucose.
That's right.
What happens when the glucose is up and down all day?
Well, then you're going to have fluctuations in your mood as well. You're going to have fluctuations in your mental capacity, ability to take in knowledge, to have your memory. All of those things will be affected.
And what about your ability to handle stress?
Forget about it. It ain't going to be there, James.
So we got to have the nutritional deficiencies covered, and we look at toxicity. Well, let's go back to 1982. Me and you were riding our Schwinn bicycles around, right?
Yeah.
The old stomping grounds. Yeah. And what the U.S. EPA was doing at that time, they were doing a xenobiotic toxicity study. Xenobiotic meaning outside the body. And these toxins are very damaging to the endocrine system. So think hormones, think diabetes, right? Think hormonal imbalance. And what they found is this was in actually 44 metropolitan areas, 33,000 people. Was it a big enough study, Joe?
I think that's pretty big, yeah.
And they tested their fat cells. Why would they test their fat cells?
That's where the toxins are stored.
So they're very stubborn, right?
Yes.
They're very difficult to get out of the body. So if someone wants to lose weight, should they do a cleanse first?
Well, you absolutely have to, because those fat cells that are housing the toxins cannot be burned as energy.
And here they found 100% of people
100%.
Yes, had plastic, pesticides, solvents, perfume, and dioxins. How many people didn't have these toxins in their body?
0.0?
Yes, everybody had them. So if you're out there saying, do I need to do a cleanse? What's the answer?
Yes, absolutely.
And here's why. This is exactly what you're talking about. A healthy fat cell versus a toxic fat cell.
Right.
As Dr. Tracy Straub has shared her incredible research, is you don't suddenly add a bunch of new fat cells, but what do these fat cells do?
Inflame.
They get swollen, inflamed, full of fluid, and now your waist is bigger, your pants are tighter, the scale goes up. And not only that, Dr. Tracy did a whole seminar series for healthcare professionals talking about what happens inside the fat cell, right? There's a whole environment and ecosystem inside the fat cells loaded with pro-inflammatory hormones, right?
That's right.
Loaded with fat-storing hormones, loaded with toxins. And how do you feel when these fat cells swell?
You feel fat. And that makes you feel tired. And that makes you lose energy, no sex drive, no energy. Then you can't sleep. I mean, it goes on and on.
So we had a gentleman, a friend of mine, 50 years old, overstressed after the holidays, and said he wanted to lose weight. All right. So I looked at him. I was like, he's not really that heavy. He goes, I just feel swollen. Right. And he knew it. So this gentleman, Dan, actually did the cleansing greens. He used them for 1 month, and he's happy to say I lost 30 pounds.
30 pounds in a month, a pound a day. Wow.
And he said, hey, nutrition's so important. There's so many scams out there. You guys are doing it right. So we can't guarantee this result for everyone, but an unhealthy body will always hold extra weight, and a healthy body will.
A healthy body will distribute it and get rid of it and use it as energy.
Exactly. So we're focused on blood sugar, one of our 12 categories, and we provide these booklets for healthcare professionals and patients worldwide because we want to put everything in one easy-to-use booklet. This reminds me back in school when some kids, not me and you, of course, but some kids would actually use Cliff Notes.
What Cliff Notes? What are those?
Yeah, there are these abbreviated books. So we have them for blood sugar. Here's the booklet. It talks about the protocol, the diet, how to take it, and any notes the doc wants to make. So very, very effective and very easy to follow, Joe.
Yeah, very easy.
So
These
the
are
protocol is simple. Let's go down the protocol. So does it matter what kind of shake they use in the morning?
It doesn't really. Take your pick. We have so many to choose from. Pick one that you're going to use. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, so you can use Power Cleanse, Super Shake, Best Way, or even Nido Keto, and then fortify it with either the greens, reds, oranges, or purples, and then we add in a nutraceutical. So what's the benefit of Glucolyze?
Glucolyze is going to add that special, added punch because that's where it's going to make sure that the glucose gets into the cells. It's going to make sure that you don't fall into that path of insulin resistance. So it's going to keep that whole process moving smoothly.
Yeah, and if you look at diabetes in general, we looked at the toxicity component. We looked at the stress component. Let's look at the nutritional deficiencies, and we are going to help replace those deficiencies with things like Glucolyze, right? So some of the things people may not be familiar with. B12, of course, I think most people are. It's a very common B vitamin to be deficient in. Helps. All B vitamins help with stress and glucose processing in the body.
That's right. Your body's first defense against stress is to use your B vitamins.
So this formulation has a lot of these nutrients in it already, such as alpha-lipoic acid. I know it's one of your favorites, and why is it?
Alpha-lipoic acid's unique in that it's both fat and water soluble. So that means it's going to work on the outer part of the cell and penetrate into the nucleus as well.
Well, I love it. So the Glucolyze has helped a lot of people by itself, and we utilize it in the program. So here's one of my case studies. This is a woman that came in, 55-year-old woman. She had type 2 diabetes, Joe, but the real reason she came into the world of wellness is that she had chronic inflammation diagnosed as, she had swelling in her foot, right? Cellulitis, they called it, to the point she really couldn't walk. She came in because she's a school teacher, couldn't walk, couldn't work, and she was in tears.
Wow. I guess she was not living a very good life at that point.
No,
right?
You take away someone's passion.
Right.
You take away what their love is for living, and then how do they feel?
Terrible.
Yeah.
Like lost. What am I going to do? I have nowhere to go.
And I reassured her right away we can help, and I gave her some hope. So what we did is we put her on Glucolyzed. We put her on omega-3D. Why the fish oil in a situation like this?
Because the body is going to crave good fat. And that good fat's going to help that imbalance of inflammatory response and anti-inflammatory response. And that's what she needs.
And then I did a shake a day for her every morning. And sometimes she would do it twice a day. So Super Shake Vanilla with the Pro Oranges. That's otherwise known as an orange dreamsicle.
It is. It tastes just like one of those if you remember them.
And I put on a low glycemic index meal program. So I know sometimes people look at that and they pick on carrots or beets. And look, I got off all the processed sugar, all the sugary drinks. And lo and behold, Joe, in only 8 weeks, her blood sugar was cut by about 50%.
That's a big reduction. 10% is a statistically relevant reduction. 50% is perfect.
Well, we got about a 10% reduction in the weight.
Yep.
Because she was almost 222 pounds. She was 216 and 22 pounds in only 8 weeks.
And that's good weight loss, Jamie. That's solid weight loss. That's healthy weight loss.
Not only that, her A1C, which is very hard to change in a short period of time, went from 8.7 to 5.9.
Wow.
Usually unheard of.
That is unheard of. And it went to actually the perfect number. Unbelievable.
And the best part of it is she went back to work after about 5 months.
Yeah. How did she feel, Bet?
She was in tears again, but this time, tears of joy, right? So, folks, there is hope for you. The other part of it is, look at it this way. I was working out this morning. I was talking to somebody on the way out, and, he was all excited. And I said, I remember the day when they wouldn't let us go to the gym during COVID, right? So I went to AmeriFit, which Dom was always open, no mask required. And I said, that day I had a paradigm shift. No longer would I ever think of I was being punished to go work out, or that I had to go work out because I ate something or wanted to punish myself. I said, this is a blessing to work out. It's my way to manage stress.
Right.
Feel good. And the best way to build self-confidence is by doing something you haven't done before.
Do something that you haven't done, set small goals, and achieve them.
Yes, and the other thing is that, remember, you're only temporary pain away from meeting the new you.
That's right.
And if you're suffering from diabetes or obesity or, God forbid, diabesity, both of them, you're one decision away, and that decision is to come down here today, Joe.
Come on down. We'll get you started immediately. It's both simple and easy.
And that's what I love about what we do. So here's some of the individual formulas. Let's talk about the Glucolyze and the Pro Oranges. Why is that one of your favorite bundles?
Well, it's a perfect bundle because in Glucolyze, you have what you need to manage insulin from all levels. You have the necessary trace minerals like chromium, vanadium, so that the cell wall will open up and accept the glucose. And then you have the right amount of cinnamon, James. You have the right amount, the amount that was used in clinical trials to show how it can manage insulin production, and that's 1,000 milligrams. So right off the bat, it covers it from 2 very important angles, and then it adds in the B vitamins to help with stress.
Yeah, B vitamins help with stress and also processing of glucose in the body. And I love the Pro Oranges. So people look at that as a fruit and veggie base. However, it's been fortified. A lot of diabetics and people in general want energy, right? They go for these energy drinks. Folks, learn number 2 today. Do not use energy drinks. Unless, of course, you want to increase your risk of stroke by 500%. Does anybody want that?
No, that's not what they're going to tell you, but that's what's going to happen.
So we fortified the Pro Oranges now with 2 types of ginseng for energy. We have the inositol and the DMG to really give your neurotransmitters, your brain, a nice non-caffeinated pop.
Right.
And then we added in Sensoril.
Yeah, now that's a patented research trademarked form of ashwagandha. And this has been an adaptogen in Ayurvedic medicine for thousands of years, and it works.
Yeah, and we added it because people are on red alert. I was telling the story. I was down at the DMV a couple weeks ago getting my new license, and 2 women. It was funny because no one got hurt, thank God. But it escalated very quickly. They were fighting, Joe, over something very important: a parking spot.
A parking spot.
Now these were adult women about to come to blow.
Yeah.
And luckily, someone, not me, but someone came running to the rescue and broke it up.
That fight was not about the parking spot.
No, it was about the other 100 things that they were stressed about and didn't want to deal with. So we added in the extra stress relief because so many people are overstressed.
The other thing, though, about the oranges is that green coffee bean extract. This supplies the caffeic and chlorogenic acids from caffeine that give you the benefit without any of the detriment.
Great point. I love the oranges. You pop it right into the super shake. That way you get the macronutrients, the protein, carbs, fat, and fiber. These are hypoallergenic, meaning even if you're very sensitive, You can drink these. We add in fiber and some MCT oil. And what are those, Joe?
That's medium chain triglycerides. That's the best fat you can take.
So we also have the whey protein, the best whey, which whey protein is going to be a little creamier than the vegan, but it is from cows. However, it is from grass-fed cows, so no hormones. And the nice thing, too, is that we don't have any lactose in it. And why is that so important?
Well, that's one of the most common allergies and why people will stay away from a whey protein source. You don't have to worry about that here. It's lactose-free.
So no fluffiness, no gas?
Nope.
Well, that's good. I know you had your whey shake this morning, so I am safe. All right, so a couple more formulas before we wrap this up, Joe. And I have to give the Super K2 Plus to you because you are Mr. K2.
Yes. Oh, I love this formula. This has to be a staple. Whether you are at risk for type 2 diabetes or not, this should be a staple in your supplement regimen. Why? Because we're deficient in all 4 components of this formula. Now,
not one, but
not 2, but 4, okay? And that's because it's been improved over the great formula it already was. What are they? D3, we're highly deficient. Vitamin K2, extremely deficient because the main food source for that is grass-fed beef products. And for 30, 40, maybe 50 years, in this country at least, we've been eating corn-fed beef products. K2 is essential to getting calcium out of your blood and into your bones. And then that third factor for bone building is vitamin A. Again, another nutrient we're deficient because it was vilified for years of being fat-soluble, but we didn't stop there. Added in magnesium, the number 1 most deficient mineral, right, in this country, and necessary for these other fat-soluble nutrients to be absorbed.
I love it. Good morning. How we doing?
Morning.
And we have the Super K2 Plus and then the N-acetylcysteine, really important for liver function, lungs, right?
Right.
Allergies. So
number
NAC,
1 precursor to glutathione.
Absolutely. So we got a lot of great options here. You talked about the magnesium. There we go, right? We also have the fish oil, which we talked about. And if you're suffering from circulation issues, because what happens is at a certain point in time, the sugar starts to get coated. They call that advanced glycosylated end products. The sugar coats the nerve endings, right? Think about the old days when we had flashlights in the drawer in the kitchen, and we hadn't used them for a while, and we opened it up. Sometimes they were rusty, right?
Yes.
So just like the batteries, if they're sitting there for years, your ends of your nerve cells, right, will become corroded from sugar. And the nice thing is that things like alpha-lipoic acid can actually polish that off.
Right.
So you need to eliminate that and then add in something like CircuCore to maximize circulation, because one of the major concerns that we, on our mind, someone with long-term diabetes is, losing of the fingers, of the toes, some people the feet, the legs, right? This is no joke. So a little is too much, right? What do you got to say? A little bit of poison each day adds up quickly. So,
Adds up real
folks,
quick.
you need to take this back into your own hands because you don't want to wait until it's too late.
And over the last few years, Jamie, nitric oxide has really come to the forefront, and that's because that's what's made in the endothelial lining of your arteries, nasal passages, lungs, and that is what protects them. So you make sure that that's strong, and this formula will reinforce.
And we got a brand new formula. No drum roll.
Whoa!
We got a brand new one here.
This one
So
we're waiting for.
we've been utilizing a lot of these ingredients in other formulations, so we put them together because we want multiple mechanisms of action when we're dealing with diabetes, diabesity, blood sugar imbalances. And we look at it because berberine has always been an ingredient we use for anti-candida.
That's right.
And then we notice improved with sugar. So what is the connection, Joe?
Well, of course, candida overgrowth can be complicated by excess sugar in the body. And so berberine is going to work for both diabetic issues, type 2 diabetes, and candida issues. So that is the major cause of many of the preconditions to diabetes.
And we didn't stop there, did we?
Of course not.
So we fortified the berberine with cinnamon. And why is that?
Again, cinnamon helps regulate insulin in the body, insulin production. That's why it's in glucose, and it's in here too.
So we got some new formulations in, including the Berberine Plus. We have some samples here at the bar. Is the bar open?
The bar is always open, never closes.
So come on down. We're live at World of Wellness. This is Wine and Wellness Week number 99, and we are open. Do you need to be a patient, Joe?
No patient, no customer. Come on down. But I guarantee you, once you do, you will be.
Yeah, and the great thing is this week, if you come down, you get a free Louis Vuitton wellness swag bag.
They're walking out of here with them it's like crazy. People get those bags. Their eyes are opening up. They're smiling from ear to ear. It's amazing, that bag.
Incredible. Not only you get the bag, but you get it full of goodies. If you don't use them, pass them on to somebody else. And we'll be here all week. What if you, God forbid, Joe, someone can't make it in? Maybe they're working. Maybe they don't have transportation. Can they participate online or via phone?
As much as we want to see your face, you can still call your orders in. You can still place your orders online. Still get all the great discounts.
So what's that phone number, Joe?
412-922-9355. 922-WELL.
So you can join us any which way. We do have a new website, so thanks for your patience as we transition to the new site.
All right, Phil.
Great job, Phil. This guy put the new site together in rapid time, quick and fast. Simply go to WowPGH, WOWPGH.com. You do have to log in, and once you do, you're good to go moving forward. If you have any problems, what do? Give us a call at 412-922-WELL. And you can also come down and pick up the products to go, or you can join us online or call us for the shipments. And all the shipments you'll receive within a week.
Absolutely. We're going to do our best to get them out to you as soon as possible, but it's a little busy back there. Come on down. We want to see your face.
So last formula, Joe, just comment on this one because, this is a key one. I think a lot of people are suffering from any type of neuropathies, right?
Right.
So that's kind of nerve pain, very painful. Could be disabling for a lot of people. Numbness, tingling, weakness. The peripheral nerves are being damaged. And that's a very strong indicator that we need intervention with the diet. And the nice thing with neuropathies is it can ease the neuropathy pain. So how does this work?
Okay, so this has nutrients in it that work on those nerve endings, the B vitamins, the different types of nutrients that are necessary to calm down that. And it's an inflammatory process, but it's going to calm that down, especially in the outer limbs. And many times, and Jamie, like you said, this is not going to, cure anything. It's going to ease the symptoms as we address the underlying cause.
Well, we're not running for the cure, we're running for the cause. And it's a great formulation to help with the cause, right? Which is that corrosion on those end cells. So, folks, come on down. We'll be here all day today till 5. Today's a half day. Now I know what it feels like to work in the bank. We'll be here tomorrow till 7.
Hey, there's the G.
Thursday and Friday to 5 and Saturday till 4. Come on down all week. We got free healthy food from 11 to 2. We have free workshops all day. We have free smoothies in the kitchen and in the bar. We have literature, booklets,
all the chewables are out there, all the samples.
Everything for you, and everything's on deep discount. So thank you for all the support. Any parting shots, Joe, for your millions of fans?
There's only one, and it's the same one. You keep an attitude of gratitude, and we promise you, you'll live long and prosper.
Oh, I thought it was only one fan, so okay. Only 1 million. All right, well, thanks for all the support, Joe. Great job. Thanks for everyone here today. The crowd's going nuts. I think it's time for us to go. Have a